Hello there guys, it's Joey, and today we're going to be looking at the Dark Moon Damsel Oracle deck by Lorena Joy, who owns Moss and Scorpions. This is a indie Oracle deck I purchased a little while ago, about a month ago, and I was super stoked to see an Oracle deck which was different to me, was interesting to me, and tugged on my heartstrings a little bit, and I have lots to say about this deck as well as the reveal of the cards. I purchased this deck through the printerstudio.com website. It's an indie kind of Oracle deck, so you they print on demand, I believe, through the Printer Studio. She also has a shop there, Moths and Scorpions, and it's got some really beautiful adaptions of the Oracle cards. There are notebooks, there are little baglets. I'm just having that's basically what she has right now. So she has zipper bags and notebooks, which is really, really interesting. The Dark Moon Damsel has two options. One is the original, which I have purchased, and the other one is Dark Moon Damsel 2, and that is colorless. It's black and white. I don't know why they did that, because I think the color is one of the big selling points. The palette is absolutely beautiful in this deck, and you'll see why in a minute. And it's been a little while since I've bought cards, and I tend to buy Oracle decks rather than tarot. Oracle decks, I love the freedom with them a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more unique, a little bit more personal to the artist, and it tells a much more interesting story. This deck has actually got me on board with some humanoid imagery, which is massive for me. You'll see why. It's a little bit of a cheat with humanoid imagery, but it's still pretty cool. Not all of the cards are like what I would say perfect. Some of them definitely are perfect, and some of them are kind of nice, but not as powerful maybe as others. That's true with all Oracle decks, though. I think there's very few Oracle decks where every single card I'm like, yes, 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 yes. Maybe the Wild Unknown Spirit Animal deck. Nope, because Panther was no good in that. Never mind. So it's true for, I think, most Oracle decks that there's always going to be some cards you love a bit more. And some of them in this deck are absolutely stellar. I'm trying to see if I can see the price. When it came in shrink wrap. I can't remember if I had any other it was $33.33. I thought it was coming from America, which is why it took a month, but the post had Germany on it, so that was a bit strange to me, because I think the shipping was another $10, as these things usually are. But the thing about Printer Studio is that you can go have a look for really unique, really interesting, and really cool different decks. You can support indie creators. There was a word in there. Well done, Joey. And I'm not sure how well they do, because I know that Society 6 rips people off for their artwork like terribly. So their cut they get is terrible. I don't know what it's like on Printer Studio, so if anyone does know, I'd be interested to know, but it is something that indie creators can use. But anyway, let's get into the deck itself. So this is the back. It's kind of kitsch, kind of cute, kind of kawaii, there's a little bit of a cartoony feel, but not too much. Asbjorn's initial reaction was, that's a bit cartoony for you, and I was like, well, kind of, but it's a little bit on the kawaii side without being overt. I really like the art style, and the fact that it has like a crystal cross on the back, and you can see stars, and this is something that is throughout the entire deck. So this kind of constellation star imagery is something that I absolutely love. Obviously, starry-eyed little lady. It's a big part of me. It's a big part of my journey, and I absolutely adore it. The cardstock is relatively thin and bendy flexy, but it's not ripping apart or anything. I'm not sure if you can get a box or anything further. Mine was definitely shrink wrapped. You might be able to. It might cost more, but I went through with shrink wrapping, and I'm fine with that. Like I can get a cloth and tie them up. So let's have a look at some of the cards, and you can see some of the beautiful use of color, the beautiful use of light and dark in this deck. So what I really love, this is the first card, this is Bear. Bear in mind there is no given meanings. There is a website. I'm not entirely sure if it's her own website. It might be. Let me get it up here for you guys. I'll just hold the card up so you guys can see it. I said go back, thank you. Yeah, it's Moths and Scorpions WordPress. Card meanings, deck and card meanings. So these are actually her writing down. So you can go check out if you want to. But I'll just read to you what Bear says. So Bear, being honest with ourselves is an important step in living an authentic life. Oh, right up my street right now. Which has to do with exposing ourselves and going all in, right down to the naked truth. Authenticity doesn't mean perfection, though. It means accepting your flaws and working on them rather than having them hold you back. Instead, you step up for yourself. Put forth what you know you can do and just live and reconnect to your roots, nature, love, and creativity. Fully accept yourself rather than pick yourself apart. So the meanings online on her WordPress are really, really gorgeous. So we're going to talk a little bit in depth about some of the cards, not all of them. Some of them are definitely more intricate than others. This one is a really good example. I'm not sure that my camera's not doing it the best of justice. It's a little bit more vibrant than the color in this room for some reason. So you have this beautiful pink and green tinged plants, and this is the first humanoid, so this might be a little bit cheating again. And with all her hair loose and a bare back, and she's looking through a portal. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'd be interested to read beginning, the meaning for beginning as well. Oh, before I move on, what I do love about this is no borders, apart from this very little bit down the bottom with the word, and there's this beautiful black background to everything, and then the illumination comes from the imagery. So I love that about this deck. Having a black background is something that I truly, truly love. So we're going to read beginning. Every moment is a new beginning in some way, a way to think and act differently, a surprise opportunity, saying yes to a new endeavor, walking away from an old life. We can paint a new future each day, but we have to start with the first step. Envisaging a new you, creating form out of nothing. It can be intimidating, even tedious, but everyone starts with a small idea, a simple form, and one step. Don't be hesitant to start. That's interesting because this is the card. So the card for beginning is kind of clusters of stars with light, and then like what could be like the moon or a cluster of light, and it's kind of illumination into the darkness. Some of the cards are a little bit more abstract, like this one. This is a really nice abstract. Some of the rest are not so good. And then you have boxed in. Oh, that's a little bit better for the color. And it's all about perspective. It's really, really cool. I'm not going to go through it in too much. Clarity is a little bit surreal. A couple of them are a little surreal, a little bit odd on the edge, and you kind of have this dark ocean of void nighttime energy, and they look like eyes, and then you squint and they look like planets with mouths. It's really strange. It's like a really odd optical illusion, because at first you're like, oh, they're eyes, and then you look at this and now all I can see is like this little vampire moon and a little vampire sun. So it's really interesting how they look like eyes, and then you shift and they look like eyeless, kind of cute monsters. So that's really interesting with clarity and perception. The whole of these cards do play with perception, which I really enjoy. Confidence is a really beautiful card. There's plenty of nature in this, which I really adore. Destination is really nice. It's really, really nice. You have these crystals, this geometric shapes in, a little bit of cloud and color on the back of the card there. Very subtle, but very beautiful. I love the geometric patterns, as people may or may not know. And so that really speaks to me. Detach is really cool. Stars in a spider web that's kind of broken. I'm not going to go into too much depth with all of these cards because I really want to show you them all, and we're going to be here a little while. Discern is a little bit surreal. It's one of these odd ones. It's like a geometric shape within a geometric shape within a geometric shape, and it looks a little bit like an egg or like one of those crystals that I had. It's really, really pretty. It's really beautiful. Energy is one of my favorites in the entire deck. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the colors. Evolve is a really powerful crystal card with like the energy of like, although I have to say it makes me think of Dragon Age and Red Lyrium, which is a bit problematic, although that kind of works with Evolve, I guess. Floating in Harmony is a really interesting card joined with Jellyfish. So jellyfish have obviously this serene nature to watch them, but you tread on them, not so much. There's an interesting duality there. Floating Island, it has a little bit of an Arabian Nights kind of feel to this one. It's not my favorite in the deck, I have to say. It's just, I don't know why, but there's something about it. This, however, there's two that may be my favorite. This may well be it. Flourish. I think this card speaks for itself. The attention to detail with body parts and hair and things like that in this deck is beautiful. It's symbolic. It's nature and human entwined. It's absolutely gorgeous. And then we have Thankful, which is another really beautiful card, which is what I think is henbane flowers, which is interesting. And the heart, a little heart of cosmic joy in between cupped hands, which I think is really, really beautiful. Secret, I'm a little bit disappointed with the Secret card because this is what Secret is. I mean, it works because you're not quite sure if it's hands all over or if it's like flower petals and you're looking up through a flower, and that's kind of the secret to the card. But the meaning doesn't go really beyond that, and that's a little bit of a shame to me. That could have been a little bit stronger, but you know, I'm being nitpicky. Sever is amazing. Sever is amazing. Look at this card. The symbolic act of cutting off one's hair. Chris and I had been talking about it. Chris had been talking about it in terms of what it means to the culture of the Native Americans. And you can go on a depth about cutting hair and what that means from all sorts of cultures. We are getting a little bit darker in here again. That's a bit disappointing. Simplicity is the night sky. Sleep is this matte style with a crystal and the stars. Again, it's a strong-ish card, but I feel like sleep is maybe the wrong word. I'm not sure. Stillness is gorgeous. Stillness is a crystal swing above a starry geometric pool with a tree, and it's just a little bit surreal. It's bordering the surreal images are really gorgeous. And then like time, look at time is beautiful. There's a lot of imagery going on in this, symbols. There's a sun, there's a moon, there's the pouring of the stars and crystals. It's just gorgeous. See, some of them really hit it out of the park. And then like this one, I really wish Fortitude with the Scorpion had the Scorpio constellation within it. I think that would have just made this card. So then there's Fragile. Look at the colors on Fragile. Fragile is beautiful. It makes me think of one of the earliest animes that I ever watched, the one that was Flower Angel. And she had like a flower pin. It's absolutely beautiful. Free Flow is kind of exactly as it says on the tin. Again, like some of these cards are a little bit too literal, like gift. I mean, I can take gift places because it's got stars in it, so starry-eyed, supplies and gift and that sort of thing, and the illumination of it. But like some people might struggle. Whereas things like Gracefully Descended, look at this. Interplay with color and light and the surreal nature. Is it feathers? Is it it's very almost more organic feathers to me, but it could also be different kinds of plant life or void, and it's just gorgeous. Heart, there's something very Sailor Moon about Heart, or very anime girl transforming into her final form. Humble is beautiful with the lilacs, the stars and the silver penny. One of my favorite cards in the whole deck, and one of the reasons that I came across this deck in the first place, is Illusion with the Moth. There needs to be more cards with moths in them, as far as I'm concerned, but you have Moth, Candle, Moon, and then the illusion of what the light is, so that's really cool. Intuition is a very kitsch witch. It's very much like that art with the moons and things that I really like, whose name completely escapes me. And I'm not going to look it up because the video is quite long, but look at magic. Look at this. It's absolutely gorgeous. Movement is really gorgeous too. It really does create a sense of movement within the card. It's really beautiful. Narrow is a card that stands out from the entire of the rest of the deck. There's a lot of green in this card. It reminds me of a cat's eye or a monster eye floating like that. So it's one of these cards that really sort of poof. It's much more green than it's showing up on the camera, so apologies about that. Theme of the month is Nourish, which I was really happy to see this card. I was like, perfect. Theme of the month, that's really cool. Perspective is beautiful again. I think you could call the whole deck Perspective. Protect is really lovely. Release is awesome because it's kind of like a modern, but also very, very witchy kind of card. You see how they're quite dark? I love that about these cards. Resilient, I'm all about resilient because look, there's a tree. Come on, focus, please. I know it's a tree and I got excited and all, but there you go. And then the interplay with the white there, with the white plants, the white sketches, I love that. I would have liked a bit more of that. Restore. And then these two are two of my other favorites in the whole deck. So this is another reason I bought this deck. Is Unlimited and it's Bindweed. And I have, oh, come on. Can we see some of the color a bit more? That's a really beautiful card. I'll put Unlimited up on Instagram so you guys can get a full measure of the color. And then Wisdom, which is really cool. Oh, there you go. We will do the color for that one. What if I hold... No. It doesn't want to show you the color for Unlimited. It's a really beautiful deep purple. This one's fine. Weird. So Wisdom has like the steps to the storybook, which I kind of love. It kind of tells like a fairy tale. So these are absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous Oracle deck. I really love it. I really do. A couple of the cards I think could be a little bit stronger, but I'm not complaining overall because I love some of them. And the imagery, and the color, and the price is good, and you know, you get to support an indie creator as well. I highly recommend them. I love them. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, a little bit of show and tell. Hopefully we'll get some spooky boxes soon. Last month still hasn't arrived. We're nearly time for this month, so it's just getting a bit crazy, and I will try chasing that up. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing weekend and many blessings.